The Starry Night Archetype. An archetype created for the sole purpose of assisting and giving strength to a single monster. A monster that came out during the Duel Monsters era of Yu-Gi-Oh! Originally as a giveaway monster, recognized by many duelists not because of what it does, but for just how iconic it became. The nights of many duelists may be dark for those who have difficulty transitioning into a more modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Era, but this old dragon arrives to light their way and give them hope to shine even in such difficult settings. Today, we're going to talk about the Starry Knights and their signature monster, the Starry Dragon. As a Yugi Boomer myself, yes, I'm that old. My very first deck was the Yugi starter deck. I even still have the box art to this day. I was quite literally stunned with how far Yu-Gi-Oh! Had evolved since my old playground days in elementary school, where I played with the anti-rule one time and bet my grateful charity card, not knowing how powerful it was at the time, or how rare and valuable it was because of it. A memory that causes me bitterness because I should not have taken that bet to begin with. And for a long time I was put off by it, only getting back thanks to Dragon Maid, and now this archetype. But what are the Starry Knights? Well, the Starry Knights are all light attribute monsters, mostly in the level 4 range, and the deck has a very simple playstyle that is reminiscent to the old Yugi Boomer days that many older duelists might miss and will instantly latch onto. They may be a one-trick pony deck, but as the saying goes, if they only know how to do one trick, then that means they know how to do that one trick to perfection. We'll start off with the core members, all of which are level 4 light attribute fairy type monsters that have various methods of returning monsters to the hand or bringing out a level 7 light dragon type monster to the field, or even spells and traps that also do the same thing. You'll notice a pattern soon enough, but just so you were made aware, that is their entire gimmick. Searching out and special summoning a level 7 light dragon from the hand to the field, and then finally sending it back to the hand to repeat the cycle. First off is one of our two searchers, Starry Knight Royale. With 1800 attack and 700 defense, it's the strongest of the Starry Knights, and will be your primary attacker when nothing else is available. But Royale's true power is searching out a Starry Knight spell or trap from your deck to your hand. If for any reason Royale is in the graveyard, you can banish it during your turn to special summon one Starry Knight besides another Royale to the field, but you can only use each effective Royale once per turn. Starry Knight Orbitail. The last of the Starry Knights to be released in Master Duel, Orbitail is your second searcher, but they do so by attributing a face-up light monster you control as a quick effect. When you do, you can set one Starry Knight spell or trap from the deck to your field. If for any reason a level 7 light dragon monster you control returns to your hand, you can special summon Orbitail to the field from the grave. But like Royale, you can only use each effect of Orbitail once per turn. Starry Knight Seal. What he lacks in defense, he makes up for in offense, and his ability to special summon himself and level 7 light dragons from the hand. While he's in your hand, you can return one Starry Knight monster or one level 7 light dragon monster you control to the hand, except Seal, and then special summon him to the field. If you have no monsters on the field, you can banish him from the field and then special summon a level 7 light dragon from your hand. But like Orbitail, you can only use each effective seal once per turn. Now, continuing with the theme of explaining low attack monsters after high attack monsters, we have Starry Knight Astal. What Astal lacks in power, he makes up for in having a quick effect. Like Orbitail, he contributes one light monster you control, But instead of searching and setting Starry Night spells and traps, he special summons from your hand a level 7 light dragon to the field. Also, you can banish him during your turn to target one level 7 light dragon you control and give 1,000 extra attack points to that monster until the end of your opponent's turn. But, just like Orbitail and Sail, you can only activate each effect once per turn. The final of the night, Starry Night Flamel acts as a mini hand trap. Whether on the field or in the hand, when the opponent declares an attack, you can send Flamel from your hand or field, while he's face up mind you, to the grave to special summon a level 7 light dragon monster from your hand. As a quick effect, you can banish Flamel from the grave to target one level 7 light dragon you control from the field or in your graveyard and send it back to the hand. But, unlike the others, you can only use one effect of Flamel per turn and only once per turn. Meaning you cannot send it to the grave and then banish it in the same turn. Now, you're probably asking, where is this level 7 light dragon these monsters keep talking about? And what does it do? Well, here it is! Sayario! Okay, technically it is the card they are talking about, but in all actuality, the boss monster is this, Starry Night Starry Dragon. For those of you wondering why I brought up Sayario, it's because Starry Dragon is Sayario. Specifically a rechain of this Yugi Boomer card. That's right, this card, first seen in 1999 as a promotional giveaway in the OCG, got a retrain almost 20 years later. And boy oh boy, did this normal dragon that required 2 tributes at the time just to be a 2500 beat stick for its wielder, like a certain other normal monster out there, learn a few new tricks. First off, like the normal version, Starry Night Starry Dragon has a 2500 attack and 2300 defense stat. It's level 7 and is a light dragon type monster. But it has certain nifty and powerful effects that gives it an edge over some other monsters out there. When this dragon is normal or special summoned from the hand, you can target one card on the field and destroy it. Note, this is not once per turn. So, if you can keep getting it back on the field again in the same turn, you can keep using its destruction effect as many times as you can recycle it from the field to the hand and back to the field again. But the catch is it needs to be summoned from the hand, so summoning it from the grave, deck, or from being banished won't work. As another effect, during the damage step, once per turn, if this Starry Dragon does battle and attacks an opposing monster, you can banish it temporarily and then make a second attack in a row with this monster. Like its destruction effect, it is not once per turn, only once per turn to that specific dragon using the effect. So, if for whatever reason you have 3 Starry Dragons, you can banish 3 separate monsters, destroy 2 others, and then directly attack. But, if you attack with another monster immediately after banishing using Starry Dragon's effect, then it forfeits its second attack. And, as a final effect, it has a passive effect, where it cannot be destroyed by battle or by the effect of a dark attribute monster. This means Starry Dragon, if facing overwhelming odds against dark type monsters, can easily withstand unending attacks and card destruction effects, provided they are all from dark type monsters. It's not the greatest of effects, but it's just niche enough that it can make duelists be puzzled as to why this dragon refuses to fall. Also, it's so funny watching DB players waste their effect trying to destroy it and then rage when it leaves them defenseless. Now we move on to the support spells and traps to the Archetype. The first one is, you guessed it, the Archetype Searcher spell. Starry Night Balefire lets you add 1 Starry Night monster or 1 level 7 light dragon from your deck to your hand. And then, if you have 0 monsters and your opponent has a dark type monster, you can special summon 1 level 7 light dragon monster from your hand. But you can only use Balefire once per turn. Starry Night's Guide. The field spell lacks in what other field spells offer, attack buffs, but it offers you drawing power and swarming benefits. During your main phase, you can perform 2 normal summons, provided they are either Starry Knights or a level 7 Light Dragon. But you can only do it once per turn. Then, during your turn, if a level 7 Light Dragon returns to your hand from the field while it is face up, you can draw 1 card. But you can only use this effect once per turn. Starry Night Ceremony. This continuous spell acts as a mini searcher and special summoning mechanic for your level 7 Light Dragons. During your turn, you can reveal 1 Light Fairy monster in your hand and then add 1 level 7 Light Dragon from your deck to your hand. But you then replace the fairy you revealed on the bottom of your deck. If your opponent activates a card or effect, you can special summon 1 level 7 Light Dragon from your hand to the field. But you can only use 1 effect of Starry Night Ceremony per turn and only once per turn. Up next are the traps, of which there are 2. Starry Night Arrival acts as the continuous recycling mechanic of your level 7 dragons. During the main phase, either main phase mind you can use one of 2 effects. You can either target 1 level 7 Light Dragon you control and return it to the hand, or special summon 1 level 7 Light Dragon from your hand to the field. But you can only use the effect of Starry Night Arrival once per turn. The final trap, Starry Night Blast, acts as your Omni Negate. If you have a level 7 Light Dragon on the field and your opponent activates a card or effect, you can return 1 level 7 Light Dragon monster you control to your hand and then negate the effect. And if you do negate the effect, destroy that card. But you can only use the effect of Starry Night Blast once per turn. Also, the effect of returning a level 7 Light Dragon from your field to the hand cannot be stopped. So if your opponent stopped this card, don't worry, your dragon is still getting back to the hand one way or another. And that about wraps it up. Now to explain the playstyle. Starry Knights work best when they get their signature dragon into your hand, as that is their entire gimmick. No Starry Dragon means the Knights lack a lot of power and effectiveness, and the spells and traps lack anything to work with. They don't have the summoning power of other monsters, or the beat-up strength of other decks. They don't use synchros, they have no Xyz monsters related to their archetype, rituals or fusion, links, nothing. It's Starry Dragon or bust for them as a pure deck. So, using Royale to get Balefire and then using Balefire to get Starry Dragon is priority 1 when using this deck. Next, using Seal to recycle the searching effect of Royale, since Seal can return a knight or your dragon to the hand, he can easily go in place of your searcher or even trigger your field spell to help your drawing and searching power. Orvitail's power is to get your traps on the field ASAP. Using him to tribute himself and set another Starry Night Blast or an Arrival helps you set up your recycling gimmick of your Starry Dragon sooner. It also helps you set up his Graveyard effect, which coincides with your Starry Dragon gimmick to ensure you never lose a defender and set up another trap during your opponent's turn. Using Flamel as a hand trap can be a good way to trick your opponent into attacking foolishly, thinking you're open and then using Flamel to bring out Starry Dragon to get rid of troublesome cards. But keep Flamel in your hand as long as possible, as once you spring your hand trap, it means you probably will be lacking any more ways to bring out your dragon for the remainder of that turn. Once you have the cards set up, you can continuously go through the cycle of summoning out your dragon, activating its effect, sending it back to the hand, and then bringing it back as long as you remember to manage cards carefully. Sooner or later, the power of Starry Dragon will wear your opponent's resources down depending on the deck they run. Remember, your dragon's effect is not once per turn. Use it as often as you can, unlike other decks who have hard caps on their best monsters' card effects. This deck focuses entirely on level 7 Light Dragons, but this means you can special summon any level 7 Light Dragon from your hand, within reason of course. Of all the level 7 Light Dragon type monsters in the game, there are only 15 available to the Archetype. Of those, 4 belong in the extra deck, and 2 of them, Seiryu and Hyozanru, are normal monsters with no effects. This leaves 8 for you to work with, one of which being the Starry Dragon itself. Archbrave Dragon's effect to banish spells and traps on the opponent's field is powerful, but this effect only works when it's special summoned from the grave, and Starry Knights don't do grave effects. Odd-Eye Saber Dragon is a Knight's Beast stick with a powerful effect, so it can be used if you wish, if you lack the deck resources, but don't rely on it too heavily. Photon Wyvern does nothing for you since it needs to be normal or flip summon. But if you're looking to Xyz summon level 7 dragons, or level 7 monsters in general, it's there. White Dragon Ninja has the same thing as Photon Wyvern. Doesn't work with your deck at all. Hierarchic Dragon of Azar only really works best with Hierarchic cards, so same as the previous two. Light Ray Diablos is a card. I haven't used it, so I can't speak of its effectiveness in the deck. You're on your own if you wish to use it. The two cards, however, I can recommend heavily for this deck, as they fit this deck's profile and playstyle perfectly, are Bahalutia the Grand Radiance and Saravis the Ancient and Ascended. Bahalutia acts as a counter searcher for your opponent. It's not an Ash Blossom, but it heavily counters decks that rely heavily on searching specific cards from their decks. Your opponent just tributed his own monster to search out a field spell? Too bad, Bahalutia will have them send it back to the deck and tell them to do it again. If the opponent draws a card from their deck outside of the draw phase, you can tribute summon him by sending one face-up effect monster you control to bring him to the field. Then, if he is summoned, your opponent must banish the same number of cards he has in his or her hand from the top of his deck face down. Then, shuffle all of his cards in his hand back into the deck, before finally taking all of the banished cards and adding them to their hand. If the opponent has only a few cards, this effect can devastate any plans they may have. But be careful using it on large hands, as you may end up giving them better resources than they started with. Just saying. Next up, Saravis the Ancient and Ascended. While Saravis is a level 7 ritual monster who can be summoned using Sprite's Blessing, he has two powerful effects, one as a hand trap and one as an effect on the field. If the opponent activates a card or effect that targets a monster you control, you can discard Saravis as a quick effect to negate it. When he's on the field and the opponent would special summon a monster or monsters, you can, as a quick effect again, return him to the hand to negate the special summon and then banish said monster or monsters. And finally, while not related to the archetype, this trap card's power is unbelievable for how low on the rarity pool it is. Dragon's Bind. A continuous trap portraying everyone's lovable pink dragon that the archetype of this video is based on can be activated by targeting one dragon type monster you control with 2500 or less attack and defense. While face up, neither player can special summon monsters with attack less than or equal to the original attack of that monster. But if that monster leaves the field for whatever reason, this card is destroyed. This trap card, for being N rarity, offers your deck so much stopping power and shutting down power. With how many decks out there rely on special summoning monsters, and especially monsters that often have less than 2500 attack, this one trap shuts them all down. It's way cheaper and less restrictive than Vanity's Emptiness, as it does not outright stop players from special summoning monsters, just those with less than the monster you pick. However, be careful, as you need to time this right. Too early and you stop yourself from special summoning key dragons to your field, but too late and it does nothing to stop your opponent. Also, it does not stop your opponent from special summoning really powerful monsters, just the weaker ones. Now, why do you want to use this? Well, if you're a Yugi Boomer who likes a simple playstyle that offers powerful stopping effects similar to what modern decks run, but without the hassle of memorizing spreadsheets, then give this once pink dragon who came from a bygone era a spin. Since the deck does not rely on extra deck monsters, you can easily skip it. Or if you're like me, include just random generic link monsters that you might find yourself needing. Seriously, I only have 6 in the extra deck of mine, and they're all nightmares that I pulled while trying to build the Mech Knight deck. Also, while the deck ain't exactly the cheapest out there, in terms of SR and UR materials to get the core cards you need, you only need to craft about 9 SR cards and 3 UR cards, or if you're planning to use Baja Lucia and Saravius, 7 UR in total. Personally, I use 2 of each because you can't go wrong with having an extra of each card. So, in total, 9 SR and 7 UR makes this deck quite affordable. And you can pick up the Archetype in the Dragonmaid Secret Pack, so if you were building that deck, chances are you already have a few of these cards to begin with. The deck also allows you to splash in generic hand traps like Maxi, Ash Blossoms, and cards like Raigeki or Lightning Storm. Return of the Dragon Lords also helps this deck, if you can afford it, as they can bring back some of your lost Starry Dragons if you lack the Knights needing to bring them back for whatever reason, and give your dragons a safety net with its banishing effect. All in all, the Starry Knights are a fun archetype, not meta strong, but even against some meta decks, it can hold its own and put up a fight. And nothing feels better than beating someone who spams out DPE while using Starry Dragon and they don't read what your card does. So remember, viewer, no matter how old you are or how dark the game feels at times, look up to the sky and see the light shining through those dark clouds. If a 20-year-old dragon can learn a few new tricks to contend with more modern decks, then so too can you. Now stand up proud and arrive to the conclusion that if even a Starry Dragon can blast the competition away, then so too can you. No matter what you're made of, you can shine like the stars in the sky. I'll see you all next time.